Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, and today we did have some success with some of the first pickups of the month. This was the first day that I actually had a chance to go out and do any type of Switch shopping or Switch hunting, and I definitely put my Best Buy gift card to use. I didn't spend everything on the gift card, so I still got some change left over, which I'll be putting towards some games in the future. But I did find three decent Switch games while out and about today, and I'll definitely share those with you. Also found some uncommon titles when I went to my local GameStop, so I was pretty stoked about that. So first I'll show you what I picked up from Best Buy in terms of the Switch. I've been wanting to add this Karate Kid Street Rumble to my collection for a while. I'm a big beat 'em up fan, and this one was on my radar. Now it was, I think, its cheapest at one point during the holiday season. It was like 20 bucks. But then it went back to its regular price. Well, this weekend it dropped back down to 20 bucks at Best Buy. So this was a pretty clean pickup for 20 bucks. Went ahead and added this one to the collection. I doubt that this is going to be better than like a River City Girls or something like that, but it is an interesting looking beat 'em up rather, based on a movie that I remember as a kid. So this is definitely one I was glad to add in. The next game that I was glad to find was this copy of Ys 10 Nordics. I've been collecting Ys games for some time now, ever since like the Ys games on the PSP. I don't go all the way back to like the Super NES and stuff like that. I know you've got some Ys games there, but going back to like the Oath of Felghana, Ys 7, 8, 9, 10 now. So glad to snag this one up. The Ys games are actually some of the more interesting RPGs, just because they're not like turn-based RPGs. They're more like hack and slash action adventure RPGs, which is an RPG that I can actually get with. I'm pretty sure that this game is kind of made up of some of the same ingredients, basically, where it's more of like an action RPG adventure game. Hopefully they did some more improvements with the graphics. I think they've usually gone with that whole, I don't want to say it's necessarily cell shaded, but it's more of like a cartoony style graphical. It's a more of a cartoony graphical style that I think ages better than trying to go with that hyper realistic look. That just doesn't translate well on the Switch, in my opinion. But this is definitely a game that I'm interested to dive into. So definitely glad to snag this one up over the weekend. And then last but not least, this is a game that I've heard a good deal. I've heard a good amount about this game. It's two basically side-scrolling kind of action platforming games and of the 2D genre. They're both decent games. I haven't heard anyone say that these are like outstanding games. I've heard that these are two solid games. They're not long games at all. They're decent and they're worth a playthrough. So was pretty excited to pick this one up too. At first they wanted to try and charge me 50 bucks for this game, but I'm pretty sure I saw that this was cheaper in a few places. I know that at one point this too was on sale for like 20 bucks. Unfortunately, I was not buying Switch games at that time, but I was able to get them to price match the Amazon, what Amazon was charging, which was like 33 bucks for this game. So they did price match it for me there at Best Buy, which was pretty cool. But this was another one that got added in. So Ys, Karate Kid, and Halloween are some of the first Switch pickups that I have made in quite some time. Like I haven't picked up 3 Switch games in one day, like in a really long time. So was really stoked to kind of see these games. I do honestly miss the days where you would see like a lot more limited run games at Best Buy. You don't see that as much. I remember like during the days of like Freedom Planet and like, you know, The Mummy, Demastered, and you know, there's just a few that like during that era of limited run games, when those games were coming out, you used to see those games all the time at Best Buy. and now you just don't see them anymore. I don't know what happened, why you don't see them as much. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if Limited Run had like a short-term contract with Best Buy or if something happened, but you just don't see limited run games like that at Best Buy anymore. And if anyone is aware of why that is, or if anyone knows why you don't see that like the way you used to, let me know down in the comments. But I do miss the days, and it wasn't really that long ago. It was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Like 4 or 5 years ago, you used to see some of the most highly sought after limited run games. You would see them on the shelf at Best Buy for like $30. And now you don't really see those games. You see a lot more of like the AAA. I mean, I don't know if Karate Kid would be a AAA title, but you definitely don't see like any limited run stuff. So that was that. I did happen to swing through a GameStop just to see what they had in terms of retro. And the one GameStop that I went to, they definitely had a fake Pokemon Crystal, and it was almost convincing. But once I flipped it over, you could see through the back of the game, like shell of the game, that it wasn't the authentic Nintendo motherboard. And also you could definitely tell by the label there were no like indentations on it. So it was definitely a fake Pokemon Crystal that they had there at that GameStop. The girl, to her credit, she was like, I wouldn't buy it if I were you. So she did kind of like know, I think she had an idea that it wasn't real. So that was nice of her to let me know that. And so I opted to not go ahead and buy that copy of Pokemon Crystal, just because I could tell like right off the bat that it just was not an actual authentic copy of Pokemon Crystal. So, you know, you'll see that. You'll run into that still here. But I didn't bite. However, they did have a couple other retro games that I did take a chance on. One of which was Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championships 2008. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I did watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Growing up. Like, I did watch a good amount of Yu-Gi-Oh! And one of the main Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters I remember was Exodia. I think that was the monster that you had to have like he came in like 5 different cards, but when you put them all together, it formed like Zodia, this like crazy monster. I remember like Blue Eyes White Dragon and Black Eyes Red Dragon, and they had all those dragons. I'm pretty sure that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me know if I'm wrong on that, but I do remember that being a part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cartoon. And they had this one at GameStop. As you know, today's the last day of their Pro Week, so all the extra discounts, you know, end today. So went ahead and took advantage and picked this one up. I also found something that I wasn't expecting to see there. Now, they did have a fake Pokemon Crystal, and I'm going to share all this with you because I did get some footage of that. So I am going to make like a video. I know I said that last week and I just never got around to it. I'm telling you right now, 2 kids are a handful, especially when they're both under 5. I never got around to making that video last week, but I did get some footage of my travels today, which I'll start working on that tonight. Hopefully, this way I'll be able to have it out for you guys. But while I was at that GameStop, they did have like a bunch of Pokemon stuff for the N64. They had like Pokemon Stadium 2, just a bunch of stuff like the Pikachu, like Hey You Pikachu game or something like that. A lot of that. But in the midst of all that, they did have a game that I did not expect to see, and that was this copy of Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64. So this one was an interesting one. I know that a lot of people consider this game like the impossible port. I've heard the Modern Vintage Gamer call this game the impossible port just because I guess of how much data is on this, you know, this cartridge or in this game. It'll be interesting for me to kind of see how this runs on the N64. I'm pretty sure Resident Evil 2 came out on the PlayStation 1, possibly the Dreamcast. I'm not sure. You guys let me know. I'm not a big Resident Evil follower. Once I started collecting the Silent Hill games, I got a lot of comments from people telling me, dude, you got to get into Resident Evil. You got to pick up the Resident Evil games, which I may do. I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil movies, so I may take a stab at that. But yeah, all in all, got both of these games for 27 bucks. So wasn't mad at that at all. Really cool there. And I found some other like Wii and Wii U games, which I'll probably share in another video. But for the most part, this was a solid day. I gotta say, man, just finding Yu-Gi-Oh, finding Resident Evil 2, and then just these solid Switch pickups were definitely cool. Let me know what you think about these games. Do you have any of these Switch games? Let me know if they, which one I should dive into and tackle first. And I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.